This is Simon Swart, and I'm just going to talk for a few minutes about how colonists in North America challenged and tried to figure out who had the power and if they could take it for themselves. A couple ways they did this was the House of Burgesses. It was very significant because it was the first assembly of elected representatives in North America, and it was in Virginia. And they would just try and discuss and solve all the problems that were going on in Virginia, and it was a real significant attempt at self-government in the colonies, the first one. It's very important. Town meetings took their lead from this, from the House of Burgesses, but they were on a much smaller scale, whereas all the property owners would get together in an area and try and solve the problems of that area. This is an image of a modern-day town meeting, but the same basic concept has not changed from the 1600s. Primarily in the South, a way the southern plantation owners gained significant political autonomy from England was by way of power of the purse. The plantation owners had such economic control over their area that they were able to control the governor's salaries, the English appointed governor's salaries, and were therefore able to control what they did by paying them less if they were doing something they didn't like. Other ways that individual Americans challenged English rule and actually the rule within the colonies was John Peter Zenger. His trial was in 1735, and he insulted a governor and was guilty of seditious libel. But he was actually freed and found not guilty because the court agreed that if the insult was true about the governor, then they couldn't hold him. And this was the first part, the beginning of a freedom of speech campaign that slowly became stronger and stronger to the point that we have it today, where freedom of press and freedom of speech, and we can say whatever we want. This is not John Peter Zenger, but this is Anderson Cooper, and this is a good example of freedom of the press and freedom of speech, as he talks about a wide variety of issues and may insult the government at some point. Two rebellions that went on were Leisler's Rebellion and Bacon's Rebellion, both in the 1600s. Leisler's Rebellion was in southern New York. He tried to create his own colony, and this was in the aftermath of the Glorious Revolution in England, where new kings took over, and there was a little bit of inconsistency in rule over the colonies. So Leisler thought he would be able to create his own colony, although he was executed. It didn't work, but it was a good idea. Bacon's Rebellion in 1676 was a way for colonists in Virginia to show the government that they were very upset with their Native American policies and how friendly the government was being to Native America. They went on a campaign and they killed many Native Americans and they burnt down their settlements and expressed their dislike for these policies. All these ways were just parts of colonist anger and slowly growing resentment of England's rule and want of self-government. And all these ways slowly developed and festered until it was a full-blown revolution many years later.